I built, scaled and sold my first high-ticket dropshipping business with no prior experience, and I did so using Google Ads. In this video, I'm going to break down the 4 key pillars that allowed me to do it, from sourcing local products, building the Shopify store, setting up the Google Ads, and ultimately optimizing and scaling the campaigns. So let's get straight to it. Let's start with the very first point, which is of course sourcing the product. Now, I'm going to go out there and say it. I did not dropship from China. Now, I know this is a method that a lot of people talk about on YouTube and teach on YouTube. Now, I'm not knocking this method. I've just never done it personally. So what I did instead was I sourced local suppliers. I'm originally from the UK. So I built relationships with local suppliers in the UK and built a niche specific website. And I'm going to break down exactly how I did it. So I started by simply looking for high ticket products on Google Shopping. So I went to the Google Shopping network, typed in products and started identifying where there were trends and where there was search demand. So for example, the store that I built was nursery furniture, prams, pushchairs and travel systems. So I was selling baby products. I went onto Google Shopping and just typed in the names of different niches, in this instance, nursery furniture. And I saw that on average, people were purchasing these products for over £250. How did I get to that conclusion? Well, the average price point for these products was above £250. The reason I used this as a marker is because I wanted to make sure that I had a decent margin there so that I can sell the high ticket products and still have a good gross profit margin left. Once I'd identified that it was a high ticket product, I then went to Google Trends, which anyone can access. You just set your location and set your time frame. So for example, the UK in the past 5 years, and I then typed in nursery furniture, which showed me that there was no seasonality with regards to nursery furniture, okay? The chart was pretty steady. Yes, it did have some ebbs and flows, but there was demand there. I then had one final check, which was I went to Google Keyword Planner. Again, anyone can access this as long as you have a Google ad account. And I typed in nursery furniture and I could see that there was a decent amount of search demand. I remember at the time, this was some years ago, there was 18,100 people searching for nursery furniture on a monthly basis in the UK. Anything over 10K, I'd say you're good, but the higher, the better, because it obviously shows that there's a lot of search demand. Now, once I'd verified that nursery furniture was a viable niche, I then went ahead and actually built the Shopify store. So I built this before building any relationships with any of the suppliers. Now, why did I build a niche specific store? Well, maybe you've heard the saying, riches are in the niches. So I wanted to be niche specific because then I'm going to be more likely to appeal to a supplier. And also it positions me as an authority within my niche. If I'm going to try and sell everything, one, my ad spend is going to be spread very thin across many different products. But in addition to that, I'm less likely to actually be able to sell the products because I'm just going to be looking like a general store. So it's best to be specific where possible. Once I built the website, I then made phone calls and sent out emails to local suppliers, okay? So the way I identified who a local supplier would be that would allow dropshipping was I identified other dropshippers in my niche. How did I do this? Well, I looked at their websites and I wanted to make sure that they didn't have a brick and mortar premise. I wanted to make sure that they were online only stores. And once I'd verified that they were, I just went to their website, had a look at the brands that they were selling, made a note of all of the brands, and then reached out to the brands that were clearly already dropship friendly. So by this point, I've verified my niche, I've built my website, and I've reached out to the brands who are dropship friendly. And sure enough, then I built the relationships with the suppliers and got access to the product library. So they then verified me and I became an authorized reseller of their products. And they gave me access to the product information, the product descriptions, images, everything I needed to upload the products to my Shopify store. So I added all of the products to my store. And in the end, at the very end, I had about 45 different suppliers that I was working with that were all UK-based companies, which means the lead time to delivery was 3 to 5 working days max. Okay. So someone could order on a Monday and have the product by a Friday. So that's the other benefit you have of dropshipping using local suppliers is the product can get dispatched the next day. You can send the customer the tracking information and within a few days, they've got the product. Now, to build long-term relationships with these suppliers, I made the effort. I met with them for coffee. I did everything I could to meet with the local sales reps. I attended in-person trade events. So I would go to all of the nursery shows in the UK and I would speak to these people in person and I would build business relationships, okay? Very different to your typical dropship from China model, all right? I was actually meeting the people in person and building reliable relationships with them. I hear a lot of the time of people building relationships with warehouses in China that they're unable to maintain, they're unreliable, and you're entirely dependent on a warehouse and someone you've never met. Whereas I was working with people who I'd met in person and I trusted. It also allowed me to negotiate better margins. So once I had a decent level of sales and I had some proof of concept, I could then negotiate better margins with them. So now the products are on the site, I've built good relationships. Now I just wanted to optimize the website for conversions. So to do that, I would always do competitor research. I would look at who the big players were in my niche that was nursery furniture. I would take the best elements from their website and try to apply them to my own website and put my own spin on it. And I'd also make sure that my website followed a similar theme and user interface to what my competitors were doing. You'll typically notice that each niche has a similar theme and the websites are built in a similar style. So you don't want to just come out and try and build some crazy aesthetic website if it doesn't really fit in with your niche. Aesthetics don't really mean much. Sometimes people actually just prefer simplicity or using certain colorways and things like that. Ultimately, if they want the product, they're going to buy it. The most important thing is really social proof and trust. So now we've got the website set up. The next thing is Google Ads. So why did I use Google Ads? Well, the thing is with Google Ads versus Meta, and I'm not saying Meta doesn't work, it absolutely does, but they're just different platforms, okay? Meta is very much interruption-based marketing. You're showing an ad to a particular audience on the basis that you believe they're going to be interested in purchasing the product. Whereas Google Ads, we can leverage search demand. Remember when we were looking on Google Keyword Planner, we want to see how many people are searching for these products on a monthly basis, and we'd already verified that there were over 10,000. So we know that people are coming to Google Ads looking for the products that we're selling, in this instance, nursery furniture. So I know there's search demand there. I simply just need to get my ads in front of those people who are already looking for the product because they have high intent. There's high purchase intent there, which means there's going to be a higher conversion rate. So I started by building standard shopping campaigns. Now, why did I choose standard shopping over an automated campaign such as Performance Max, or back then it was called Smart Shopping? Now, the reason I did this is because it was a new advertising account. There was no existing data. So in my opinion, standard shopping is the best place to start for ecom. It's typically where you'll get the majority of your sales, will be the shopping network and then also the search network. And I'll talk more on search in a moment when we get to optimization. The standard shopping is always the best place to start because you maintain control and you gain access to more insights, whereas trying to set up an automated campaign with no existing data in the ad account is unlikely to work very well. Google really does need data to perform well. So I would always start with standard shopping. Now, with standard shopping, you can't choose which search terms you want to target. It's not like the search network where you add certain keywords and say to Google, target these keywords. You can't do that. So what you have to do is you have to build a two-tier sales funnel. You have to create two standard shopping campaigns and segment by campaign priority, which means you then have two campaigns running in tandem. One's high priority and one's low priority. Google will send all of the traffic to the high priority campaign. And this is where you're captivating all of the broad traffic, okay? They're going to be relevant search terms, but maybe they don't have as much purchase intent as what you want to send through to the low priority campaign. So what do we want to show to the send through to the low priority campaign? We want to send through high intent, high converting traffic. So that would be branded search terms or any product specific search terms plus attribute. Okay, so for example, one of the brands I was working with at the time was called Oh Baby. So I would set up a negative keyword list and exclude any terms that include the phrase Oh Baby from my high priority campaign and push them through to the low priority campaign. And I would bid more aggressively for products or search terms inside of the low priority campaign. So why would I do this? Well, if someone's searching for the brand name Oh Baby, the brand has already done all the hard work for me. They've already found me someone who's looking to purchase their product. Like I said at the start, I just want to get my ad in front of that person and capture them when they're right at the bottom of the funnel, which is why we create a two-tier sales funnel. Now, hopefully I'm explaining this well. If I'm losing you a little bit and it's something that you want to learn more on, I do have a school community called the Google Ads Ecom Academy, where I teach all of these things inside of it. So the exact strategies that I teach inside of the classroom, you'll be able to see there's many different modules all broken down. We've got marketing fundamentals, campaign mastery. We really break down absolutely everything inside of this school group. You can see there's over 50 videos. We go through Google Shopping, Google Search, Google Display, PMax. So if you need more insights and you want to pick up on your Google Ads skills and gain direct access to me on weekly Q&A calls, then this is the place to be. Alternatively, if you just want me to run your ads for you and you have an e-commerce business, I'll leave a link in the video description where you can book a call and request a free Google Ads audit. Now, in addition to the 2-tier sales funnel, I set up GDN remarketing. So this is where you leverage the Google Display Network and set up remarketing campaigns that essentially allow Google to follow people that have visited your website around online using the Google Display Network. So the Google Display Network gives you access to millions of different websites, and they're typically those banner ads that you'll see on other websites when you're browsing. And it allows you to simply show the product that someone was looking at on your website on another website to get them to encourage to click and come back to purchase. So I would allocate about 5 to 10% of my budget here. And this was really what I did to get the ball rolling. And that was enough to start getting profitable sales, 2 standard shopping campaigns and a GDN remarketing campaign. Now, over time, as I further developed my Google Ads skills, that was where I really started to optimize my campaigns. And what I did was took my hero products. So these are products that had a high conversion rate and had proven to work very well. And I actually took them at the time and I put them into an automated campaign, such as Performance Max. At the time, it was Smart Shopping because this was going back a couple of years. But now what I would do is take them and potentially put them either into their own standard shopping campaign with a dedicated budget and scale them on the shopping network. However, sometimes you can reach total addressable market, which means because there's only limited search demand, you can only reach so many people that are at the bottom of the funnel. So sometimes what it can be a good thing to do at this point in time is then build a Performance Max campaign. Take the top performing products and put them into a PMax campaign, which leverages all 5 of Google networks: Google Shopping, Google Search, Google Demand Gen, Google Display Network, and also YouTube. You need to make sure you have strong image and video-based creatives to leverage here. But the reason this can work well is because you're not limited to only the shopping network. Google can use the existing data inside of your account and scale it up the funnel, okay? Attracting more people that are in the middle of the funnel and the top of the funnel by leveraging image and video-based creatives, a bit like what people do on Meta. So if you have performing creatives from Meta, by all means take them and implement them into your Google campaigns, whether they be dedicated campaigns or a PMax campaign. So scaling hero products is always something you're going to want to do. Another thing is leveraging search term insights. So remember, I said we go with standard shopping. Why? Because it gives you so much visibility over search term data. So you can see what search terms are converting and performing well for you. You can then take those search terms and begin to create dedicated search text campaigns. So for example, if we see a particular search term is working well, so let's just keep it on theme. If we see Oh Baby Cot Bed, remember Oh Baby is the brand that one of the brands that I was working with. If we see this search term is converting consistently on the shopping network, we could create a dedicated search text campaign targeting Oh Baby Cot Bed as a phrase match and an exact match, and build out a dedicated search text campaign that then takes people to that specific landing page. So again, what we're doing is we're taking our search term insights from the standard shopping network, anything we've learned with regards to search term data, and we're applying it to the search network. So we're taking what's already working on shopping and getting more visibility and more inventory on the search network and applying the same thing there. Again, still maximizing that bottom of funnel traffic, which means it's going to have a high conversion rate. And any search terms that are poor performing and not working well in standard shopping, we can start to exclude them using negative keyword lists. And honestly, guys, this is all that was required for me to scale my business to £20,000 in monthly recurring revenue within 6 months. Bear in mind, I will say again, I had no prior experience in doing any of this. And yet in 6 months, I was able to scale my business to £20,000 in monthly recurring revenue using Google Ads. Now, as time went on, I actually owned the business in the end for about 2 years, and I was spending on average £3,500 per month on Google Ads to generate between 25 to 30K in monthly recurring revenue at about an 800% return on ad spend. This is why Google Ads is so powerful, because you have search demand on the Google network. All we're doing is choosing to show ads to people at the point where they're ready to buy, which is why you're able to maintain such a high return on ad spend. And I'll let you guys in on, not a secret, but I'll be completely transparent. I actually exited the business for £25,000, which on reflection now isn't really that much money. But at the time I was young, this was my first business, and I was very happy to take that amount. I mean, when someone puts 25K in front of you and says, yeah, I'll have the business, it was very difficult for me to say no. So being completely transparent, guys, this is how I built an ecom store and scaled it using Google Ads at a young age, and was able to exit the business for £25,000. So you guys can take these strategies and literally copy me.